Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 190th MLP Drawing School crit stream. Today's a little different. Little Living Dead's not here. Our poor Zomzom, he's off hugging brains. Code word for eating them. But hey, you got me, Alley Claw, and of course the ever lovely Fluffy's Eye.
Hello. Yes, it's a bright. We've got Alikaw's bright, sunny personality, and it's just too sunny for a zombie to be in. So he's gone to other places.
it's we're just gonna try not to panic today. Everything's fine. No zombie
Yeah.
is holding us hostage. He holds us hostage every week. Don't tell him. We know. So, let's see what we got here today. We'll start off with this lovely vinyl. I just gotta zoom on in. Do 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 do.
Doing the Zoom again.
Little zoomy dance.
Du-du-du-du-du.
Eh, eh, eh. Alrighty, and I apologize for any names I do butcher today or any words I stumble over. It sometimes happens. So this is by user Lizard Paws on Reddit, and they said and titled this is a quick little doodle of vinyl. There are no comments. So, Um, I think it's really cute. Like first impression, I think it's great. It's a cute doodle. I love the face. I love the little shiny highlight and the little. I like that you put a little block behind her because that really helps her pop. It gives her some depth, even though it's just a quick little thing. And I like the swooshy, fluffy hair. It's very fluffy.
Yeah, there's definitely a nice like style and volume to everything. The shapes sort of feel like they mesh well together.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got some very serious bunny ears going on. That's very interesting.
Big fluffy ears.
I mean, if you wanted to go like the air of Rick Root, you had to
Oh
go with
yeah,
all the
just
fluff.
add the little.
But no, it's yeah. I think at one time when I was early on in my developing a style, someone commented that my ears looked sort of bunnyish, but they weren't meant to
Sometimes you
be.
just want really big pony ears. You just
hmm
gotta get them.
It is cute though. You've got some nice round shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I feel
So
like maybe there's something else. Right, you can go first.
Oh no, if you were gonna touch on the horn, that's what I was gonna
Oh
say.
no, I was looking at trying to figure out the face. I was just gonna ramble while I
Go for it.
experimented. So you can do the horn.
Okay,
I
po.
didn't even notice it.
So I think the biggest thing for me with the horn is that it's sticking almost too far straight up. Usually you get a bit of an angle with ponies because of the way their heads are. They're basically a ball, so it wouldn't be on such a flat surface going straight up. It's almost like a well, I can just draw it. With using fluffy little circle guide here, it's almost like we want the horn poking out this way. And I know it's a very large horn I drew, but
I'm just setting up layers.
oh yes, thank you. I knew I forgot
Oh,
something.
my pen was freaking out there. Boop-a-doop.
All right. So an easy, simple way to figure out the horn, I'll do it again, is you kind of draw a circle on the plane of the face. Now that's hard because balls themselves have about a bazillion planes on them because they're not really known for flat surfaces. But if you want to be technical, you can zoom into a ball and find a plane at some
Oh,
small level, I'm sure. But just using that oh, the guide's gone. I'm gonna. Oh, there it is. So just using that guide, I kind of intersected the line by kind of having an even split, not evil split, in the circle. And like I said before, just the direction, it'll point more outward, not quite with the ears, but boop 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 doo. And then you get a nice little unicorn horn, and then you can go ahead and cover that
oh
up
my
with the
god.
hair, like you were doing. But
Draw a pile. Stop being mean. It won't let me move this layer down.
oh no.
I was trying to make it. Oh, fine. I'll delete it. Delete layer. Oh my god. I was just
Technical
trying to make.
difficulties.
I tried to make a layer and then it like disappeared from me suddenly, and I realized I was filling on the wrong layer. That's why my head circle disappeared. Okay. Now I can try this again. I'm on the wrong color. It's gonna be black. I was trying to move the layer. It kept like moving back. It's like, you stop disobeying right now, mister. So I can try this drawer thing.
And
It's
thank you
drawing
to
and
Maze
such.
in our chat who pointed out the technical term. The way we put the circle on, like a circle on a ball, the 3D object, is you find the plane tangent to the sphere. So it's, if you know what a tangential line is, I suggest looking them up because images are helpful and I could talk about them, but tangents come in many shapes and forms. But creating a tangent in this case is almost like perpendicular. It's like that T cross section. So the surface of the circle, there's a circle, and we want like that. So it's like a T section going out the horn, burp, burp, and this is the plane she'll be sitting on.
Not doing this very well for symmetry, but I'm just sort of trying to point the head, the face, because it felt like it was going a bit sideways.
Yeah, I wasn't sure honestly if this is a like a side view, but then you're right. The ears kind of point to a 3/4 view, so it,
Huh? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Not sure if we should have the whole face visible or cut the cheek in. It's up to you to decide. There's all sorts of things you can do. Third quarter can, I know third quarter can be very tricky for a lot of people starting out. Lots of people in our group have said that it's like something they struggle with a lot. And I've heard a lot of people say that they do struggle with it starting out. I feel like most people I know, us included, who are more experienced with drawing, say that third quarter becomes way easier than any other kind. Ooh, okay, I might have messed up like your positioning of the horn in relation to what I've just done.
hey, that's okay. We learned to adapt here, right?
Yeah.
Boop. Oh, sorry, did I erase your horn?
No, I just drew like this, the base circle, so that's absolutely fine. No, that's not right. You probably do a better job than me.
Just gotta remember that line. Well, that's probably too far, but you know.
Yeah. I think that I feel like there's like a margin to of like correct placement of the horn. We like LD often talks about like the exact like 45-degree angle, but I feel like sometimes I mean this horn originally in the original picture is poking a bit too straight up, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
there is definitely a little bit of room to adjust the angle depending on the style you're going for and how you want the horns to really feel. But it's kind of a thin margin. I feel like it's like this. Maybe
Yeah, and like Fluffy said, I know. I see
you have to
people
be
do like
100% accurate.
the really fun curvy horns too, like where you
Yeah.
get a little curve to them, and
I have a little bit
there's
of curve to my horns.
it's nice. It's fun. It's fun to add that little touch. It doesn't have to be, mathematical, but like LD talks about breaking down the face into mathematical portions, and that can help in the beginning, but it's okay to have some artistic
Hmm.
freedom too.
Yeah, I know personally I don't all the stuff of like building everything up out of like math stuff and like dividing everything into parts and measuring everything like that does not work with me. So if it is worth saying, if you try doing all of the like I use the cross thing here, I do recommend that at the very least you should do like a circle with a cross for the face. If you try doing like all of the like dividing everything up like oh the body is like this many heads and the legs are this many heads and whatever the LD talks about, if you try that and it doesn't work for you and you really don't enjoy it and you don't feel like it's helping, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't mean that you're a bad artist. It just means that everyone has different techniques that work for them.
Mm-hmm. Like I'll say the number stuff sort of worked to me at first. It helped me visualize it in like a base way, but I don't use it to set up much. I just, I use simple shapes and scribbles and
Hmm.
gesture drawings to help me now. It's helpful to learn proportions. Like you do need to understand proportions. Proportions are super helpful in everything.
Hmm.
Like if you're going to
Yes,
draw an
yes, yes.
animal or a human or a desk, you got to know the proportions to it so it seems doesn't have to be realistic, but believable. That's the word.
Yeah.
And
I'm just
like even what's his face, Jack Skellington creator. He does crazy, gangly, skinny skeleton themed things, and it's not correct anatomy, but it's believable.
I'm just doodling over here. I do an example of how I like really short stubby horns, but that just shows like how you can have all sorts of different styles. And I have my ears that are very sort of like pudgy and foldy. Um, but yeah, there are different ways you can do everything, and it works really well to like experiment and try different things. But don't don't feel the need to feel like you're restricted to one particular method.
Experiment. That's the key.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's all I have to
I
say
hope
about that.
I hope our crazy ramblings have given you something to think about in some sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's cute vinyl. Very adorable.
Mm.
Alrighty. So then we will move on to our little gray pony over here. Little sad pony. Let's see.
Oh, she said her ears aren't as big and fluffy as these ones in front of her.
This is by Insidious. I'm not gonna say the last word. Be nicer to yourself. But all they have is the title, which says, "Yes, I know about the gray around the line art," and
I don't
uh,
even see that.
it's more visible on a black background. Um,
Like it's in like the like anti-aliasing pixels around the edge or whatever.
could be
The
that
white
too.
pixely edge.
So I'm looking through the comments, and it seems like someone commented on the light source, saying how there's a light source both in front of and behind. This is from Olanda Sheep. Unless the gradient was supposed to be the hair color, I think you should check the lighting. And Insidious responded, they were attempting a shading technique they learned in our class, and they can see how the light source looks like it's from behind. So, yeah, I can see what they said about the light source. There's kind of light coming from all direction, and it's very undefined. It's very diffused. There's no harsh shadows or harsh lights going
Mm.
on. Nothing that really builds the form.
Let me just do a bit of poking. Ooh, zoogly. Ooh.
So what you
I
working on
am.
there, Fluff?
I was trying to make a selection. Ooh, this looks awful at the moment, but it will look okay in a second once I do once I do like. Actually, need to turn the fade off. Ooh, my pen back. Okay, dokie. I'm just having a little look at the anatomy here and trying to have a little bit of a poke. Ooh, what happened? Oh gosh, the layers are moving around. They have a mind of their own.
Oh
Run.
no, I didn't touch anything, I swear.
What did I draw these on layer 5? I'll move layer 2 to the top. No, that messed everything up. I'll make a new layer.
Wait, is this white line yours here?
Layer 6. Um, that's where I moved the head.
Oh, okay.
Um, okay, so I'm just like looking at the anatomy a little bit because I see a lot of stuff that like I see a lot of people doing. In terms of the anatomy being sort of raw and not like comfortable enough. Um, so I'm just sort of looking at the bean body. We talk about this all the time. You've got the bean. Um, I'm just looking at the way the head attaches to the neck and the neck attaches to the body, if that makes sense. So, but it's nice. You've got this lovely little face shape here. I really like your nose and the hair and everything. So I'm just working on how that attaches in a style befitting the MLP stuff, which I think you're trying to emulate. The hooves typically are thicker towards the end than the rest of the leg. Like the hooves are thicker than the leg. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, so we see a lot of people doing these like pipe legs, and if that's what you ultimately want to do, that's absolutely fine. But just be aware that usually the hooves are a little bit thicker, and the front legs I think usually curve inwards. Like this is why if you can see this line here, and that's a very terrible color. That's literally the body color. What am I doing? At least with the grey pony like this, most colors we can choose any color we like and it will show up. You can see this leg here has this curve. Just make it a bit more visible for you there, going inwards. Because as they stand, they got the weight on them, so the leg's not going to be exactly straight. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
I'm gonna need to erase some of this a little. Just to you can see. Oh, what is that's on layer 5. Okay, there we go. You can see where I've got like the construction of the joints and the body parts anyway, which I built up out of circles just very quickly. I just quickly threw down some circles just to help define. Okay, this is where this body part goes. So I can see you're trying to do like the MLP style with the leg here. So I'm just doing something a little bit more like the show style here. Um, which I know I don't have like a reference on the screen. That's just because I've drawn these shapes a lot of times. Eventually, you do get a feel for how something is just on memory because
Mhm.
you've struggled with it enough. You got to struggle with something to learn how to do it.
Well, it doesn't all have to be a struggle.
Not always, but typically, like you remember the choices you made as
Mhm.
you go and as you have to
You
be like,
figure it
oh,
out.
how should I? Yeah. Um. Otherwise, references are very, very good. Like, make sure to if you're struggling to get things to look right, a lot of times just bring up a good reference, and it can be something from the show. It can be an artist whose style you're trying to emulate. It can be a real horse, maybe, if you're trying to figure out the bone joints and whatever. Um, but bring up references and just have a look at how they're constructed, and it can help you a lot in trying to figure out uh, the way to get the shapes to work. The way I drew the leg might this was me trying to interpret what you're trying to do with the pose, this front leg here. Um, but I don't know if that's maybe you did want it further back for a reason. Like, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to use this pose at all. I was just sort of trying to look at doing like a bendy leg just to show you how the joints would go, and I'm gonna go over these again just to show you what I was talking about. You got this little sort of triangle here, and the back legs, and I mean the wings too. You got the wing here, and then it's technically doing this, but yeah, wings are a whole nother matter, and I think your wings aren't too bad, so we don't need to focus too much on them right now.
They got that
This is
nice
just the
generic
legs.
shape going.
Yeah, you got like the ice cream cone.
Oh, I can't unsee that now.
Yeah.
Delicious ice cream
Otherwise, yeah,
faces.
I love your expression. Very cute.
Mhm.
I think you've got some good groundwork going. It's just a matter of sort of making everything a bit rounder, a bit more sort of weighty in the style. Look up different styles. You can try experimenting with more with the show style by copying references and stuff. You can try experimenting with other artist styles, whatever you think catches your eye. I do think that trying to master the show style, or better yet, the movie style, which is sort of a more updated version, um, mastering
Mhm.
that first acts as a very good fundamental. And then from there, you can advance out and start copying stylistic approaches that artists take. Like, oh, I want to have very tall, lanky ponies, or I want to have very like short, chibi ponies, or whatever you want to do. Very realistic, muscly looking ones, or like super duper fluffy Kibensugate ones.
And I'll hop in and say like not just MLP ponies, like go to the source beyond the source. Look at horses. That they
Yeah.
started from horses.
Hmm.
And using real life things to inspire cartoons is done everywhere and it will help you just as much as it helps every other great cartoon artist cuz learning anatomy is a fundamental, like through and
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. As I was saying, like if you're like to if you're trying to learn the like leg structure and bone structure and everything, looking at actual horses really helps. And you can also find like breakdowns not only of how like taking like an MLP pony and breaking down how the bone structure works and how the joints work, but also of actual horses as well.
Mhm.
Um,
And
I got
compare
I
the
got
two.
I've got a bunch. Yeah, I've got a bunch in my references folder, but I need to actually find the sources by like reverse image searching if I'm going to share them in your videos. Um,
Yeah.
but they can be super duper helpful. There's some really good ones out there. Oh, I know one of them. It was a centaur anatomy tutorial. It's got the horse parts there of the legs and everything. I think there was some page that was specific on horses. That was by Phantom Inker. Um,
Phantom
so I'll find that later and put that in chat. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff you can find. Like Ali says, studying horses is really good. It's the same thing as learning to draw people. Anime cartoons, they came from real life. You
Mhm.
know, that people creating a stylistic approach to real life.
And don't
So
think you need to like draw realistically. It's just there
yeah,
to help you. Like learning what it started from, like learning how the horse became the MLP pony and
yeah,
how you can like it's like a little slider bar of stylization. Like how much realism do you want to
yes,
bring
yes,
into it?
yes.
How much crazy you want to go? And don't be afraid to like whack that style bar across the map and break
Yeah,
it off and, put the
I'm
style
not
bar
sure.
on the pony.
I'm not sure how I would go about searching this up, but there are artists who do lots of their style is much more close to the realistic sort of muscle structure of horses, just but still sort of a little bit along that slider Ali's talking about, and have that stylistic cartoony look to them, but are a lot more um that like they have that muscle structure in more than MLP does,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. It would be really interesting to like look between and study between like actual photos and how they've interpreted that in a cartoony approach, and then look at MLP, which is even more simplified. Um, but I think like looking at different sources like this will help you, but don't worry about getting too bogged down in it at the moment. It'd be fine if you just like look up lots of different angle screenshots from MLP, breakdowns and tutorials on the structure, and just look at the specific shapes of the
Mhm.
body. Think about what we've talked about like the leg structure and the bean body, with the circles and everything, and just think about that's really awful. The colors are all mixing now, but yeah. Think about like how the structure builds, and just look at how they've interpreted it in the show.
Mhm. It just have fun with it too. Like
Yeah.
don't feel like you need to constantly be studying. Have fun with drawing horses and you will learn as you go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely worth just experimenting with and enjoying yourself.
All right. And then I'll only touch on this cuz it was talked about in the comments, but the lighting. I think yeah, you understand that to have a more focused lighting is probably important. The other thing I would say stay away from well, you don't have to stay away. See, this is so hard in art. You want to tell people like a definitive thing, but its reality is like try it this way, and if you like it more that way, and like, art's so
Yeah.
hard. There's so many like things you have to like excuse yourself for, but also be
Yeah.
like, hey, do it this way. But yeah, I would be the only thing I'd be careful of is using too much white to make your highlights. White usually washes colors out. Like right now, I feel like your blacks and grays a little bit are almost getting washed out. Not that there's so much
Oh.
color going on, but it doesn't it feels like it doesn't feel like a light. It just feels like the color is kind of going away. So
Mm.
sometimes giving yourself a colored light can really help boost colors and shadows and such. Whether it be a warm color or cool color, like warm colors are the yellows, reds, little green, little pink, and then the colds are like the blues, greens, purples. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think it would be I'm curious what the technique your art teacher's teaching you. I'd be curious to know. But sadly you are not here and I cannot ask. It is sad. Um, but keep it up. All the next job is to draw a pony to hug this sad pony, so that they may feel the happiness of a hug. All right, shall we move on to the next one? Also, hello to too many OCs. Welcome to the stream.
No such thing. But hello. Where am I
And
moving now?
we're going right across to the Wub Wub.
Okay.
And if anyone in the channel watching or in chat has something they would like critiqued as well, feel free to throw it at our faces. We'll critique you now because you're here and we can ask you questions, and that's great. We love
Yeah.
it when people ask questions. Please ask questions. It helps us help you better.
Post those questions along with your pictures on the subreddit so that we have your questions when we do the stream,
And if you're
and also
familiar with the
critique other
subreddit,
people's.
yeah, if you're familiar with our subreddit, we have a new pinned video. I highly recommend giving it a watch. It is great. It
Is
is
this the one that you were spamming in
fantastic.
everyone's faces?
Yes, it is so good. Everyone should watch it at least 7 times.
I still need to.
If you don't want to throw it at me, then get yourself a carrier pigeon, right? Attach the art to the pigeon, and the pigeon will just know. It'll drop it off at either Fluffy
and
or my place. They'll
and then we
they'll
can give
know.
it scritches and seeds.
Yeah, well, we let you give them some seeds, some scritches. Sorry, only at our faces or by pigeon mail. You can't just gently pass it to us. That's just
You can
unacceptable.
gently pass it to the pigeon.
Yeah, there you go. It's unacceptable. Alrighty, so let me pull up who this user is. Come on, laugh.
Thank you very much.
Where's my cursor? Oh, there it is.
I,
Alrighty,
I
so
find myself asking that all the time in draw pile.
yeah, right. So this one is titled Cooties, and there's nothing else, just cooties. Ew,
hmm
dubstep. It's cootie, dubstep cooties, dubstep cooties. That's hard to say. So I see you have a very interesting stylization here. I actually kind of like the thin neck and the long legs. Like I feel okay with the proportions. And you get the little beady eyes. It adds to a comical
Yeah,
effect.
I love the sort of notion of this scene going on here. Like you got like vinyl in the background. It's a nice sort of composition. It's very minimalistic, but we can easily see like what's going on. I feel like I kind of that's not a very nice color. It's not color at all. It's black. I kind of feel like I want to see like visual effects, like just instead of just like writing wub wub, have like oh there's like booming music, ooh, and you sort of have these different squigglies, and then like some like music notes
Mm-hmm.
going on, like but like the music notes are also like ooh, like, kind of hard to draw for some reason. So you got these like music notes, ooh, and then those are also like kind of exciting. So like here, there's music going on, but also the music is like zappy. It's like whoa, it's intense music. So there are ways that you can like visualize stuff like that without necessarily need, and you can have like the wub wubs on too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it would work to the sort of comical effect you're doing if you did that sort of like bubble writing. If you know how to do that, just like ooh, I'm probably doing a W. I've never written W in bubble writing. I feel like it's just a no, I'm drawing on the wrong layer.
Oh no.
That's part of the picture now. All of this. Okay, yeah, I was right. Why is my pen like lagging behind my cursor? That's really weird. That was terrible. I've never written a W in bubble writing before. It's weird. But yeah, there we go. So you can do this sort of thing. It's like, well, yeah, I don't know, because it just sort of works a bit better with sort of comical effects. I think
Mm-hmm.
some like wow. I don't know. I'm just messing right now. So, you have anything else, Ellie?
I mean, the only thing I would change around a little bit is the proportions. Like, yes, it's a very comical style, but her chin is so lorg. It's a lorg chin. I would just, ponies have little snoots, but their muzzles aren't too big, so you could just like, here you go, just a little chin. Um, yeah. Otherwise, I like the movement. Yours are fine. It's an interesting style. I think next time that you post on our subreddit, please come with questions. We want to help you go in the direction you want to go, and it's hard to do if you're not here and we can't ask you questions or you don't leave us any questions, and it's hard for us to critique because we don't want to just be like, oh, draw it show style. This is just we'll draw all over it, and you have to draw it show style. That's no fun. That's no fun. We want to help you get to where you want to go. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this one.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Too Many OCs submitted one, and I'm just gonna quick get that
Yay.
onto the canvas. Gotta open the Reddit. Whew, begin picture.
Ooh, it is big. Remember, you can do the fit to screen thing to keep the proportions.
Yeah, I just
Unless
hit
it's better with that now. I don't know since they updated it.
boom. This should be better. Alrighty. I like the tones already. I really like the colors. That like purpley black influence with the light purple and white mane.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Nightmare Rarity.
Did we see this one in the Discord?
Yes, in fact, let me just read the title for you, because they did, in fact, do it in the Discord. This is a piece I liked. Okay, sorry. This is a piece I did, like the chibi practice piece I made. I played around with layer attributes just to see what I could get. Not sure how I feel. I did also post this in the Discord, and now here too. Critique question mark? Now my
Thank
question
you,
for
thank
you
you.
is there any specifics you want to critique with? Is it about how it feels color wise or proportions or, what kind of critique are you looking for? What kind of things did you have trouble with or struggle with or things you want to do differently?
Boop, boop, boop. Waiting for stream delay and then typing.
Boo 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 doo doo. I don't have an Aggie to plug this week.
Oh no. The colors lighting is the light too bright? Stuff like that. Oh, thank you. I was noticing I really like the stark. Am I on the wrong layer? Am I using the wrong tool? Why can I not draw? It's a mystery. I can't draw.
Do 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 do. Oh wait, I think it's on layer 6. Hold on, let me just.
Oh yeah, I was scrolled down and there was another layer because the layer panel only shows like
We'll just work on
so
layer
many.
7.
Yeah, we have like 15 layers
I
of this.
know. It's fine.
We're gonna new pictures. Okay, we'll make a layer 8 for this. Okay, where was I really like these like stark lights. You got this bright light along this side of the image, contrasting against this dark this side, and you got these really like flushed whites here. I really like that. I feel like the lighting on this. I mean, the wings do look, the feathers do look very shiny because of it. But I feel like it has a really nice effect, like creating this light. It isn't just like the light source in terms of like whereas the shadow on the pony is actually like the light source is a physical energy in this
Mhm.
picture, and it's nice.
Ooh, you know what would complement it? You have such a strong, lovely light, and I love the texture you have. It's like a very nice chalky
Oh yeah, it's
texture.
so good.
But you need those darker darks to really push those lighter
Yeah, I was
lights.
gonna say that.
Yeah, like you started doing that like back here
I
with
love
the
that you've
wing.
I
You
love that you've got the cut. You've got like the nice colored shadow as well.
yes, yes. Like I said, you started doing
Good
this,
shadow.
but I feel like the hair could really get chopped to be really dark. Like this is something that's not being hit by the light. Like this whole thing could stay bright, what I'm quickly scribbling on top of, but then you get a really nice crisp darkness back there. And also something to consider, I don't think this shoulder right here would be oh so dark. I think it's on the appropriate side of the wing because the wing right now feels like it's flat on to the viewer, so things can be going past the wing onto her face and shoulder over here, and maybe even the neck a bit. Like these are some places that would actually catch light, and that could be really interesting to have those spots of brightness coming in because of the way the wing's held.
Mm.
And also, I just would watch out with some inconsistencies. Like you got this little guy down here. I think just to keep things consistent on the same side of the feather. Just keep it in mind where that light's coming from, because it's a very intense light. Let me just switch around here. Oh, see, Fluffy's already going in for the darkness.
I am the stuff that's gonna like not have much. uh like her body here, I feel like is probably mostly covered. Or maybe it's not mostly covered by the wing because the light's going in from the front. But when I see like a parts of hidden away like this, I like to push the shadows on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was gonna say as well with like this side with the whole side of the image, as you've got this stark light on one side, actually push the shadows even more and create this like vignette. Yeah, like that. I feel like you've been like sort of much more manually playing with colors than I typically do, which is very, very nice. So what blending modes do we have, if any? I can't even see them. Okay, let's see. Screen. Nope. Multiply, divide, burn, dodge. Definitely subtract. So what I do with every picture, I have a actually have a select folder just filled with the layer color overlays I do because I have a very specific like recipe which involves an overlay layer typically with like a gradient of like a very low opacity with sort of like a yellowy orange um towards the sort of light side of the image um and then I'll have like another one which is screen usually set even lower opacity and then it's the a gradient in the same direction um and then I have like a multiply on the other side just to sort of create like a light side of the image and a dark side trusting each other, but it usually makes the colors blend very nicely on the character and helps blend the tones and values together. But I just love like how you've been doing. I wouldn't use yellow and orange on this. If I was doing it, I'd probably use like a pinky purple just to keep the sort of color
Mm-hmm. I agree.
feeling right. Though a yellow screen might actually be quite sunny. It might complement the pinks nice. I'm not sure, really sure. It's good to experiment.
And I'm
Let's see,
experimenting right now. This is something you
there's
don't
some
have to
heavy
do,
dust.
but I think because of how intense the lights are, you could even have stuff fade so much into darkness that it almost fades into the background. You get like this hint of that hair just kind of disappearing into the dark because of just how intense that light is. It's almost like it blends with it. I just think that would be like a fun like cuz your wings are almost getting eaten by the light, you know? So why not the darks get eaten by the dark a little bit? And that just gives it big old pop.
It's always worth experimenting with that, and I think that does play off very nicely.
Does that kind of make sense? Too many OCs? Do you have any more questions? Or do you not like the way we went directionally with it? Are you looking for a different direction? Critique is always best done as a conversation, so we'd love to hear the feedback.
Yeah, very true. I see what you're getting at. I'm going to be working on another piece that will have hard contrast to keep, will have hard contrast, so keep an eye out with it. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you helping me. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming and for giving us your art to look at.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the next one, and I hope you still do post on our Discord and stuff. I know some people get missed with the critique. It happens. People are busy. Stuff. We try to think of it this way: if you want critique, critique the person above you if they haven't gotten critiqued. I would love for that to be a rule. You can't ask for critique unless you critique the person above you. And don't worry, I can't spell either. And thank you so much for your submission. I guess we'll move on down to the bottom left then.
Here we go. Layer 8.
Well, we can use 6 and 7 now.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
You go.
so this is by Inexperienced, and I know Inexperienced has been around now for a bit. So this is timed myself for 5 minutes. Didn't finish coloring it. How'd I do? I think you did great. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful to do these quick sketches. Beautifully wonderful. My question for you is, how do you feel you did? But I can't ask you because you're not here. I always want to ask people that. When they ask us how we feel they did, I want to ask them how they feel because that's important.
Very important. So as a carrier pigeon.
Yes, send us a carrot pigeon.
So it's yeah, we talk all the time in the stream, and in the Discord too. Whenever we see people who are sort of working on the same piece for weeks and weeks and just adding to it a little bit, we tell them, move on, finish this picture, don't care what happens with it, move on, because we're often encouraging people to just do lots of little sketches, and that's something we've given directly to people here on the stream, is to just like do lots of little sketches. I think one of those times someone actually did come back the next week and had like a page full of sketches for us, which was great.
Love
Um,
seeing that.
yeah, so like there's definitely it definitely is very valuable to draw lots of little things. I would much rather see someone drawing lots of quick doodles than spending weeks on a single thing. However, there is definitely two extremes to this
Oh,
dial,
yes.
and I think there is a middle point where you're allowed to spend some time on a picture, building it up carefully and just refining it. And it's okay to just do a draft real quick for 5 minutes and be like, okay, this I've got the basis of like the pose down, and then like maybe I'm gonna gently erase everything, and I'm gonna go over again and try to refine everything in a bit more detail. That's a really good technique for building up a drawing. Just allow yourself to have that time to keep working on it. You don't have to work on it for weeks because, like we say, it's best to just to move on and just do lots of drawings rather than one single one you spend all your time on. But also, you don't need to restrict yourself from taking time with things. Just maybe like an hour or so, maybe less, maybe more. Depends on what the drawing is. I think for a sketch you probably don't need a whole hour, but it depends on how
Yeah.
much you want to experiment and how much you want to build up, and you don't feel like you have to rush anything at all.
It's like the thing with art. It's so hard to talk about art because you can't just say black and white things.
Yes, yeah. There's
It's
all the
we want
colors too.
yeah, it's all the colors, all the hues.
Yeah, I mean that metaphorically, but also that's true. It's like
Yeah.
it's not black, white, or gray. There's a whole rainbow in there too, and
Mhm.
it's like there's so many right ways to do art, and there are ways that aren't so right, but
It's like
it's all
it's
about experimenting.
yeah, like the thing with art is if it works for you and you're having fun and it's great, that's great. If you want to learn
Yeah,
something, just prepare to have your mind open and do something different than what you do.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
necessarily mean you can never do what you did before. I know a lot of people phrase things, and
Hmm.
it's probably bad on our part that we sometimes are like, do this, not that. But it's like we're telling, it's almost like take it with a grain of salt and take it with the idea of we're saying, try this. Do instead
Yes,
of doing this, try this. Try what
our
we're saying.
yeah, our advice is a recommendation, and if it doesn't work for you, then we are not telling you that that is the only way to do it, or else you're wrong.
Yeah.
And also,
Sometimes we will say that though, like
yeah,
I will admit, because some things
what we
are very much like we see you're hindering yourself because we used to do that.
yeah. Yeah,
So
there are
we can,
definitely
yeah,
some things where it's like this, there's as I said, there's no right way to do art, but there are things you can do that are maybe not so right. Um,
yeah,
maybe not completely wrong, but there are definitely things that are just not good for drawing.
hmm,
When we what we try to do here, just to sort of clarify, is like we're trying like what we're talking about and what we might recommend are the techniques that we feel someone will improve best. Like we're not trying to tell you how to fix your drawing. Most of, or at least that's what we try to aim to go beyond that. And what we try to do is to give people the resources to improve the best way that they can. So if we think that someone's doing something that is not a very practical way of drawing, like Ali said, if it's we feel like it's hindering them and it's like someone's making a mistake that we used to make and stuff like that, then we try to give people recommendations for techniques that will work best for them and allow them to better draw and to better learn, more importantly. So it's not like the right way to do it, it's just our advice towards what will probably help you move forward. That's what our goal is, to help you move forward.
Mhm. And that's the whole spiel about art. I like every
Yeah,
time we do this stream, I always have that thought in the back of my head, and I feel bad because I want to explain it every time. Because I feel like we've ran into enough people where we may have hurt them, or they misinterpret, or it's hard. It's hard. You, the idea is to keep an open mind, try the things we do, and if you don't want to do them, fine, great. But I will say, if you don't want to do them, or you gotta at least try them, and if you don't want to do them, if you come back to us doing the same things you were doing, give us questions. Give us those juicy questions so we know how we can help. That
yeah,
wasn't like, how we can change our advice and how we can guide you better. Because most of the
yeah,
time it's,
absolutely.
we can only tell you so much off of seeing an image. We can only correct so much.
And every person's needs are different, so by all means, like we want to know what will help you.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
on to the critique. What you
I'm
doing
just doing
there?
some
I love it this.
doodling to make the hair feel a little bit less static. So I love the sort of flowy hair you've got. I don't know if it's actually like flowing in the wind or she's whipping her hair about like in a shampoo commercial, but it's what I'm doing here is taking that idea and saying, okay, I'm gonna just like make the mane a little bit more loose and flowy. Not perfect, but I'm mostly trying to think about what you're trying to do with this picture,
Mhm.
rather than just doing my own thing with it. Um, but rather than just having these zigzags, you want to have everything feel like shapes that are flowing between one another, if that makes any sense.
Ooh, I have a nice tip for you. So I see you want to like you want to do quick drawing, right? But I see here that you're doing, you know, little lines to get everything right. See,
Hmm.
that's actually more time consuming. You can be cutting down on your time by doing swooshes. Like, and this is a 5 minute drawing, right? But where's your under sketch? Get that in there. That's gonna help you. That's so important. If you think about like just like, okay, a quick sketch. Okay, circle. Okay, yep. Okay, the bean shape. That's lovely. And then the head, like that. And these are all big swooshy things, and I'm getting the shapes down. Like,
Okay, we're
okay,
getting the legs, and
ear.
there we go. It's one
Yeah,
leg, and
like,
yeah, and this one's gonna go like this.
it's okay to be messy. It's okay to not be clean. It's
And it
okay,
actually helps you be faster and be more efficient.
Mm hmm. Like, oh, okay, the little ears. Like, okay. The nose. And I know you're doing this traditionally, and a lot of people are always like, well, I don't have layers in traditional. I don't have. You can do this lightly. You can also buy lead that naturally doesn't put down as much pigment. So you can
Mm,
just go
okay.
really light and really fast.
Yeah, and that was like what I'm doing right now is just on one layer. I mean, usually I'll have like my undersketch separately just because I can, but
Mhm.
that's just a convenience. It's
Mhm.
not vital to the drawing.
I'm also using a very big pen. You will not be this thick.
Yeah, it wouldn't be this big and blurry and traditional, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
Um,
but if you want to do quick sketching, get you can get those big, nice, smooth lines, but still also use all the things you've learned for proportions and such. And that makes you go faster. Like I did
yeah,
that body in like 3 seconds.
yeah, you were just lightning it on. Because it is. I get some people might think that they just it's sort of like I want to just get to the drawing. I don't want to have to build it. This is just a doodle that I did for 5 minutes. I didn't want to make it like a big deal. But like it doesn't matter if it's a big project or if it's a quick doodle. I'll still um do all the build up and everything because it really helps to like plan everything out and like even more specifically like if I want something to just be like a quick drawing, I have learned from past experiences if I just try to jump in and do it, and I'll spend a lot more time trying to figure everything out than I will be actually just drawing. So it like saves a lot of time and effort just to plan things a little bit, and you can do thumbnailing as well to like help plan out the composition of something a little bit more easily.
And sometimes they don't work out. And that's okay.
Hmm.
Because like the thing that we also suggest about doing things quick is that don't be afraid to move on. Like yes, it's a quick okay, I want this, and maybe I don't know,
Mm.
there's a pony and there's heads down here, and I kind of want this like motion of like a mountain going on. And it's like, oh, maybe they're standing tall or they're broken down and weak, so they're sitting, but they're like hanging their head low. And it's like, oh, that looks like a crazy mess, right? It's like, okay, I have that basic idea. I'll move on to the next thing. It's like, okay, so I
Yeah,
want the arch
and
to be their back, and there's their
even if
hoof.
it's your full drawing that you've yeah, so exactly what Ali is doing right now, even like building up the thumbnail one thing at a time can really help to refine everything and make it make more sense once you've got the basic idea. And but even with like the actual drawing itself, sometimes it's like, okay, I've worked my best with this drawing. Right now I'm going around in circles trying to correct everything. I'm just gonna put this aside and start the drawing scratch on a different piece of paper or somewhere else on the page and
Mm-hmm.
just draw everything again. Like Ali so eloquently put, sometimes you gotta kill your babies.
Kill your babies. Get used to it. It's okay to fail. Embrace that failure, because you know what? It's just the next step forward. It's
Hmm.
all it is. It's not that you did something and like sure, okay,
Yeah,
maybe you did something wrong, but you learn from it. You learned that you did that wrong, and now next time
as
you can
I've
apply that.
absolutely, as I've said, I think I said in a conversation in the Discord a little while ago, like like when you spend time figuring out a sketch and then you start again, like you're resetting your progress on that sketch, but you aren't resetting yourself. You still spent time trying to figure out the drawing and making choices and learning from them. When you're starting again, you haven't gone back in progress. You're still working with the same like knowledge and experience and the same ideas. It's just you don't have like a canvas full of mess that's been like worn away from the pencil and the rubbing, and you're just like is starting fresh with the ideas that you've learned from the previous picture, of the previous attempt, rather. So it's absolutely
Mhm.
fine to just start again. Like if I think so, I can't remember who it was who said it. It might have been Galen
Mhm.
or someone else who said like if I've drawn it once, I can draw it again. It's like yes, that's very true. Like
Absolutely.
it, you can draw like this if you get into the mindset of like I drew this and it's great. I can't like it was a bit of a fluke. I can't necessarily do it as well if I try again. Like maybe that's true. Sometimes like we go up and down in skill and left and right and zigzag and whatever. It's not a straight line, so you're not gonna immediately be like guaranteed to be better the next time you draw it.
Mhm.
But like there's nothing to be afraid of if you get too debilitated by the idea that like I drew this super well and if I start again it won't be as good. It might be better.
Mhm.
You just gotta
Exactly.
actually try that.
Art is forever changing. You know, it's okay. It's okay to
Hmm.
embrace that.
And see what Ali's done here. Every single time she's redrawn this, the ideas from the past doodle have come through into the next one, and she's
I
said like,
cut off
okay,
their
and like,
butt, but don't worry about
yeah,
it.
yeah, like in this one, it's like, okay, or maybe the back end is like a little bit more raised. It's like so you can make choices and change things each time you do it.
Mhm. And it can be really quick, and it comes with time. Speed is something learned. You learn how to get faster. So if you're finding yourself not being able to do like a quick little, you know, I don't know, anatomy thing, like here's a pony standing, here's the legs. If you find that
Yeah,
you're, still doing slow, that's fine. You're going to work up to that. That is something you work up to, and you can keep timing yourself and getting faster and faster. And we have an
takes
exercise
practice.
on our Discord called a draw along, where it's a timed event where we time ourselves for a half hour, do the drawing
Yeah.
together. And we used to
Hmm.
do more critique with it, like we'd do the half hour, then get critique. Everyone would kind of critique each other and be like, okay, so this is what I did, and where do you think? Because it's a very natural thing to just respond to a timed thing, a timed event. You just want to go. You don't
Hmm.
like overthink it too much. You just go, and that kind of brings out your natural elements.
Yeah. And some people will just like to just draw as normal for the half hour and then share it, and that's absolutely fine too. If you
Yeah.
don't want to do, because I know a lot of people, myself included, were like, "Oh my God, time! Ah!" And it's like a stressful thing.
Mhm.
So if you get too stressed out by the idea of being timed, then because that might make it less fun. If you're not someone who likes challenges, it might feel like a bit of a chore. But like it's just so you can just think of it as like half an hour of drawing with maybe longer
Yeah,
of
with
just drawing
friends.
with your friends, and like then it's not stressful.
Yeah.
It's just when there's a timer, it's oh let's share what we've done. But it is definitely a very good exercise to like help like drawing together is like the best time to like grow and develop. I think it's very good to ask for critique during that time. So we're
Yeah,
all drawing together and having fun and in the zone together.
it's good to learn as a community.
Artists are like everyone sort of I feel like a lot of things sort of expect most things to be like sort of competitive. But I think art is definitely not. Art is something where people work together. That's how we work best.
At least most artists, like the competition comes from the marketing side of it, not the gaining
Mm.
skill side of it. And it's not so
Hmm.
much competition. A lot of artists work together. It's just kind of corporations that make things hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other rant.
Artists thrive when they're together. We're free range artists.
I
Not
hope our
stuck in a
little
cubicle.
rant has helped with understanding like what it is to like speed draw and what it is to like be
Yeah.
okay with like not having a clean thing and what it
Yeah.
is to we touched
Yeah.
on a lot
So
of stuff here.
the to go back to the very first point and bring ourselves back to off of the rambling weeds to the
Yeah.
original point again. Like we definitely appreciate people drawing quickly and just like doing a quick doodle and moving on. Um, not to get bogged down into everything for weeks at a time,
Mhm.
but we also feel like you should allow yourself some time to build up a drawing a bit at a time and work on it and give yourself some time with it, you know?
Yeah. And you know that doesn't mean like, oh, send us these scribbles. These scribbles are for you. We can't help critique these scribbles. Work through them and then refine it and then bring it to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuz it's like what I'm drawing now, I couldn't possibly ask someone to critique cuz they'd be like, "What? Well, your everything is scribble drawing and there is no semblance of whatever." Like, but maybe you could refine
It's
it a
all
bit.
about developing that feeling.
Mhm. All right. So we'll move on to our last one now. Again, I'll throw it to the chat. If you have art you would like critique today, please go ahead and throw it at our faces. And if you just have questions about art in general, we tend to try our best to answer them. I know it's weird because we're critiquing someone else's, but don't be afraid to ask questions during while we're critiquing.
Yeah. You can
Um,
just be like, hey, so I have this question about line art, and we can
mm-hmm.
just you can try and answer.
Yeah.
It's not something we get. I think I remember one time when we did just have some random art questions and we were answering them, and like that's absolutely great. Just give us your questions.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let me pull up the thing for this. We got questions this time around.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, this is titled First Time Drawing Clothes. Hi, I made a clown OC, but I was wondering if I could get critique on her face and her hoof, and the other parts if you see problems. Alright.
Sweet.
So, for your first time
Uh,
drawing clothes, I think they're really nice. They have nice wrinkles and I want to say appropriate spots, and they're not overdone. Usually, when you see people first drawing clothes and like, oh yeah, wrinkles, it's like they put a wrinkle every,
yeah.
millimeter.
I know I did.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Like, been there, done that.
Yeah, I like you definitely got like the sort of points of contention here with
On the
the
shoulder.
fabric the fabric is being pulled.
And you have like interesting little shapes here for the puffy sleeves, which I'm
Yeah,
absolutely
I was
okay
just
with.
noticing that. I love that. Like that shows your understanding of like the weight because like why is my pen so small?
Because it's a big picture.
Yeah, that's actually true. The weight is pulling down, so the fabric is collecting at the bottom. So I really like that you've paid attention to that. It's really good. Like I didn't have as much idea of that when I was first starting to do like clothes and everything. I was just like
Mm-hmm.
way too much. Like everything needs to be like this. Ah, yes, and do the. This is how I drew clothes. Like
Yeah.
everything was this.
Everything had a wrinkle
And
because
it can work if you want to do super baggy clothes, which they were, to be fair. Like all I knew how to do was to give characters like super baggy, nondescript trousers. But yeah, I definitely like the idea of everything not being super like exploded with detail. You've got like enough to show that there's some crease going on. Can maybe do like a little bit. Sometimes little lines can help. In some places. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where. Just a few little details. Maybe more, but here because there's more like creasing going on, if that makes sense, in this little corner. Um, because the leg is bent.
So, um, I wanted to tackle the face, and the only reason I'm jumping into it so quickly is because it just hit me why I see an issue with the face. You drew the face almost as if it was like a mouse nose. And I know we have the little fun pony ball there, but right now there's nothing showing us. I'll quick hide the layer so it's easier. Right now there's nothing showing us that there's that big broad muzzle. And ponies have those big, nice broad muzzles, and like depending on the style, but I see you have a very big snoot here, so I'm just going to push a little bit of my style, and I apologize if it's not the right direction, but to get that form, that big nice nose, basically I'm gonna follow this line I have here, right? I'll even pick another color, see if that'll be more helpful. Get like this blue. So I have this circle here um, to be the head, the ball to be the head. And what we do when we're figuring out face things is we kind of draw this line right down the middle, kind of split that circle in half because the face is symmetrical and it helps us place the eyes and everything. And since it's turned away a little bit, you know, the whole breakdown deal. So when we have the eyes in, we get the nose to come out, but also that nose follows that line as well. So the center line of the nose is something a little like this. And right now, the clown nose, is way off over here on the corner, and the way the shading's done, it looks like it's just kind of nicely rounded. But we want the nose right there in the center, you know? Big old goofy clown nose. And we still can keep that muzzle shape, like if I were to draw a box where the nose of the pony is. Burp, 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 burp. Get that 3D look.
Hmm.
And that way, we still get the dimensions of the pony face. And when you shade it, it'll be strange because putting a little nosy on a broad face there. You could do things like you could extend the muzzle over, or just again in how you shade it, you could just drop the shadow on certain points and not kind of have it perfectly round because that'll flatten the surface. If that makes sense. I feel like I rambled a bit too much there.
I think you got the major points across. There you go. Nice and clean now.
Do a little mouth, happy smile.
He's a very lively and fun looking character.
Absolutely. It's adorable. I love the hair too. Like not only the
Yeah.
color but just the style. You don't see really short hair often.
And a cute little bun tail.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to look at.
Me neither. This was rather cute.
Yeah.
Oh, they did the other question we had was uh and her hoof. So I'm guessing it's the one
Yeah.
she's holding up. And yeah, okay. I think the only thing is I think it just gets thin, it gets really thin. So you almost just want to bring it up. Because the
Mm.
overlap is fine. It's almost like she's twisting her arm to the viewer. So that's why it has that overlap. But yeah, I think the thing is just feeding her some cupcakes. So or him or her, I don't know. Feeding the clown their cupcakes. Get a little bit more marshmallowy hooves all around. But yeah.
Uh, I also feel like if if it's me anyway, I'm like if you've drawn this much of the image and all you've got
Mhm.
left cut off is just like a little bit of hooves, you might as well just make it a full thing. Like I always try to. whenever possible, make an image full because it just like makes it more usable. Like maybe you need to like use this image. Just like a random example, you join a group playing Tales of Equestria and you decide to use this character for your character and you want to shove their art into the little art character art box on the character sheet. It'd be nicer if it was just like the full thing and it's sitting there. Sorry, squeaky chair. It's like sitting there on the sheet, all full looking and complete. Whereas if it's cut off on the bottom, it just like is a little bit not as finished. If it's just like if you want like a zoomed in cropped thing, like a headshot or something, that's fine. That's great. Like if you're gonna like cut off like a little bit of something just on the edge of the canvas, like you might as well just extend the canvas a little bit and just put those little extra bits in. But that's everything. It's just like a little nitpick, or it's not
Yeah.
even a nitpick. It's just like a bit of advice, just it can help make things
Yeah.
a little bit more usable.
I do have
I've
one
had to.
nitpick. Just to not make the leg as long. Just that's by the section there. It can just
Oh
be
yeah,
brought up.
that looks nicer.
Doesn't need to go all the way to the butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Fluffy. No reason to leave it out. You've got just that little bit more. I
Mhm.
know grounding a pony is very hard. To get those 4 feet to look like they're on the same
I didn't do it
plane.
perfectly. I should have made the front hoof go down a bit further, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm. Like you could just do a little transform tool, tuck the back legs up a bit. But
Yes. I've definitely had plenty of. I mean, it's not everyone is going to have to. I've done specific things trying to produce things that have needed me to use some art I've made as graphics for something, and or even just like I just want to shove like my OC on like a background for a page or something, and like oh now I need to like go in. Like I have had moments where I've had to go in and like draw an extra little bit on the side, just like like oh this hoof is cut off. I need to go in and just draw this little bit of a hoof that's cut off or something. And I actually had to
mm-hmm.
like add to the picture just to finish it. It's like it's just easier to do that from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, again, cute clown. Love the hairstyle, love the colors, love the expression. It's a very
Very
cute
fun.
style. Otherwise, that is the end of our art today, folks. Unless someone in the chat has something they would like critiqued, we'll be happy to take that. Or if they have any last questions, we'll be happy to take those. Otherwise, come hang out on our Discord. The
Hmm.
links are in the description of this Picarto here. And if you're on our YouTube, I forget where they are, but just search My Little Pony Drawing School. You'll find it.
Yeah, I
You're on
always
the
find
Reddit
everyone's
anyway, probably, so you'll find it there.
actually. I feel like I want this last artist we looked at. I want to have like a comic in their style. Like it's really nice. It's got
Right?
like it's really lively.
Yeah, and no, I love
Love
the
the
line
ears.
work too. It's like
Yeah,
it's
the line
not
work and
like
coloring, but like colorful and alive, and it's good for
yeah,
comic.
it would be a great comic. Do a comic with your clown.
Fun times. Anyway, I think that wraps us up for this week, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. I hope
Yeah. So
everyone has a great day, and we'll see you next time.
yeah, feel free to join our Discord and critique people on the Reddit.
Yeah, watch the pinned video in
Watch
the
the
Reddit.
video.
There's my final. All right, bye bye.